Morning, everyone. It's Monday again,
Yeah.
and I'm here again with Mum. We're carrying on reading our book. I'm on chapter 3. It's called Thriving at Nature's Pace. It's about a new approach to thinking about the climate crisis. So it's a great read. Your copy, recommend it to people. You can get a copy online. And I'm reading it with Mum because Mum was saying what's it about, and she has glaucoma, so her eyesight is very poor. So I thought, why not read it and why not share it with you? So here we are. And Mum is going to be 91 very soon. So we've got her birthday coming up and we're going to do a special session. I think we'll have to do a special session on that day. So for my mum, I'm going to see who else I can get along to come along and do it. So, okay. So this is going to be a bit short section. We read a page or two, a few pages at the most each time, and then we have a little chat. Mum asks some questions or tell me some things that I've forgotten or didn't know, and then we move along with that. So this time we're going to start with why oil and gas and coal. Climate change comes about because of a change in the delicate balance between the amount of heat that the planet loses back to space and the amount that stay on the planet. Everyone who has sat under a hot sun has experienced their own mini version of this. There are many things that determine just how pleasant or unbearable sitting under a hot sun can be. If the sun feels too hot, then putting a towel over the body or putting on a light kimono can make it more bearable. This provides a covering that keeps the sun's ray away. However, wearing a woolen coat can make it feel a lot hotter. That traps heat in a layer around the body. So the bearability of the experience is a matter of how much the heat is kept in. This is where the science begins and ends. In between the beginning and endings are important details. They may point to how a kimono with a synthetic material is better than a cotton sundress. They may equally say that Angora wool is worse than merino wool when worn in the sun. Those details are what science determines. When it is the planet instead of a person, oil and gas and coal come into the picture because when they are used, they create a layer that acts like wool to trap the heat. This layer is made up of greenhouse gases. Oil and gas and coal produce the main greenhouse gas, carbon dioxide. When they are used, the gas in oil and gas and coal is also a greenhouse gas, is methane. For the planet, the equivalent of kimonos or sundresses that help to block the sun are things like bright, fluffy white clouds and ice in the North and South Pole. There are also more dynamic ways in which the Earth cools. Rainforests, for example, are so large that tiny particles released by the leaves rise into the layer in the atmosphere above, where global warming is happening. Once there, water vapor condenses around them to release heat. This heat is taken from the surface where we live and is released directly into space. This is the planet's natural air conditioning. Rainforests open up windows to let the heat out. That's why it's bad, among other reasons, to cut forests down. So saying hi to people who've joined us. This is my mum, Eleanor, and it's me, I'm David, and we're reading my book, Thriving at Nature's Pace, and it's about a new approach to looking at climate change. So climate science allows the combined effects of greenhouse gases, clouds and forests, and all other whatnots to be determined. These other whatnots include the effects of air pollution that comes from construction work, cars, and ships. There are lots of detailed calculations made using careful observations taken all over the planet. We say without a doubt that the heat trapped by an increasing dense layer of carbon dioxide is a very bad thing. However, oil and gas and coal are also important because they are a source of energy. Energy allows people to do things, that includes us. This is the part where the economics takes over from the science. The economics determines how much oil and gas and coal is used. The science cannot determine this. Using oil and gas and coal allows people in modern society to improve themselves. This is good and encourages more improvements. This can end up being very bad because it causes more oil and gas and coal to be used. So it's kind of a bit circular. So we've got more people and just saying hi again. Thank you very much for joining us. And again, I'm reading my book, Thriving at Nature's Pace with my mum. And I'm reading it with her because she can't see very well. She's going to be 91. I was just saying earlier that it's her birthday coming up. So we're going to have a celebration with planning that with my sisters, our 3 sisters. So back to the book. So even though there may be ways to shade the planet and keep the sun's rays away, it's not recommended for the obvious reason that nobody wants to live in a world without ever being able to see the sun. Doing so will only encourage more activities and therefore encourage more oil and gas and coal to be used. Unfortunately, economics in the first instance is always virtuous. It makes lives better. This makes it good to use oil and gas and coal and other forms of energy. However, it becomes a vicious circle as activities beget more activities. This brings on horrible unintended consequences. Climate change is one of these horrible unintended consequences. In the end, using energy faster than nature can adjust to creates horrible unintended consequences. This is the reason why keeping oil and gas and coal in the ground is necessary. It is more than just about greenhouse gas emissions. It is about finding a balance with nature. That is, finding nature's pace. So that's the book title, Thriving at Nature's Pace. And that's part of the new approach of what we need to do. So Mum, how about that for now?
Well, I heard on the TV
Yes.
that yesterday somebody trying to use the energy and cause fire.
Oh,
How can it happen?
yes. Well, I didn't hear that, so I'm not sure exactly what they were talking to. But I think when you use energy gives you lots of power, and so it's quite possible that you can cause fires. So, and it's a dangerous thing.
Yeah, is that the electricity?
Electricity is not just electricity. Electricity is made by different ways. One of them is when you burn gas in a power station or coal, you can heat up a lot of water, so that's very hot, and that creates steam. And the steam goes and drive these turbines around, and they just push it and spin it about. So it's like what you have on a bicycle wheel. And for those of us who used to have little bicycles which had lights on, where when the wheel spins, it turns the light on. So that's how the electricity can be made, is by the wheel spinning along. And that's how we still make electricity using gas and coal. And we can also make electricity from the sun. We can do it in the traditional way before, which was just the same. We heat oil up and that goes along and we use it to evaporate water and that spins and so on. Or we can use it in what's called solar panels. So in these things, what happens is that the sun comes along with it and it kicks out, there's enough energy, it kicks out little bits of electricity each time the sun shines on it. And those little bits of electricity then gets collected up together and stored into a battery so that we can use it. So those are the ways. So either you spin something around, like a wind turbine, or you go around and kick out little bits of electricity from materials, and that's what we do in some solar panels. Or you heat things up so the things spin around, and then we make it that way. But in all these things, a lot of heat is produced, so it can get very, very hot. And it's the same with the nuclear power as well. What that does, it creates lots of heat, so it heats up all this water that then is used to create steam, and that pushes things to go spinning around. So spinning around is the way we make electricity.
So the fan that we use on the sea, that I thought it's just creating the wind.
Okay, so you have these big blades in the sea, and those are wind turbines.
Yeah.
And so what they do is they get blown by the wind,
Yeah.
and they turn by the
Yeah.
wind. So when they turn, then they're spinning around. And anything that's spinning around, we can make electricity from. So by making the wind into turning these things to go spinning around, we can then change that spinning around into electricity.
Then where can we get the electricity from from is far in the sea.
And so what you need is you need wires, massive cables that go from far in the sea coming back. And that's why it itself creates other problems, because you then have to dig up all the copper that you need to make the cables, and you need the ships to go out there. And so it's not at all easy, and it itself is still quite expensive to produce and to build all this thing. Once you've created and produced it, then the wind just turns it. So people talk about how cheap it will be, but actually you have to pay the cost first.
Well, it's very expensive.
Yes, and paying that cost is very expensive. But
making the fan is expensive.
and making the fans very expensive. And these are huge. I mean, they are football pitch sizes.
Yeah.
They are absolutely massive fans, and they're almost too big. So they are, but of course, the way we need to think about it is how much electricity do we really use? And Mum is really good at this. She always turns the lights off, and she always tells us, you have to be careful about how much electricity you use. And that's important. And she has lots of light at the moment because with her eyes, with the glaucoma, she can't see very well unless it's really bright. So we need to reserve it for the things that we really need. And to do that, we need to make sure we don't use it all somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, okay. Shall we finish here today?
Yeah.
That's really good. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to finish
Thank
here
you.
today. So again, I'm reading my book, Thriving at Nature's Pace. It's about a new approach to climate change. And I'm reading with my mum. We do this every morning, most mornings, from about 8:30 in the morning in the UK. Between that and say about 9:30, depending on how mum is and depending how long it takes me to get here, and all the rest. So thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. You take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So.